The Geometry Dash Demon List. What a pillar of this community. It is the most popular, trustworthy, and accurate ranking system of some of the most impressive levels made by members of the community, all based upon how difficult they are. It's really something that can only exist because of how unique Geometry Dash and its community is. It's a place where legends begin and where legends die. Because of this, it is loved by everyone in this community, and it has been given the utmost respect over all these years. Well, not really. Not anymore, at least. It seems like over the years, the community's overall interest and reception of the Demon List has gone downhill. Legends aren't being formed as much anymore. It's become ever so harder to even try to beat a list demon, and there's a lot more drama and controversy nowadays. Sure, the list always generated its dramas and arguments and such, but recently it feels like the quantity of arguments has gone up while the quality of what they're about has gone down. Like arguments over pause buffering or an extra click. Really? I think that no other level has been more of a representation of the downfall of the Demon List than the level that is placed right below the #1 spot. Avernus might possibly be the worst top 10 we've had in this game's nearly 10-year-long history. It has been over 4 months since the level has been placed on the list, and still, nobody has even made it to the list percent of this level. There are so many things wrong with this level that have caused for nobody to want to play it. I remember when people were mad at Technical for only taking a month to beat Zodiac. I would like to see what those people think about the fact that it's taken this long for there to still be no progress on Avernus. What went wrong with this level? What caused this level to be so hated by almost everybody? And how does it represent the current state of the Demon List and the Geometry Dash community as a whole? Before really going in depth about what's so wrong about Avernus itself, we gotta go over the actual creation process behind the level. And let me tell you, whenever you hear about how this level was made, you will understand how it turned out so bad. The first ever preview of Avernus was posted onto YouTube on November 20th, 2020. It was uploaded by the creator Womb, and all it was a very blurry video of the player Bo no-clipping what seems to be an early version of the level that would soon turn into Avernus. In the description of the video, it states that the entire layout was made by Bo, and we should expect progress on the creation of the level to be posted on another creator's channel, Electro, for as he was the apparent host of the level. Hey, what was the top 1 demon back in November of 2020? Oh, so I forgot to bring this up earlier, but Avernus is supposed to be an antagonist level to the then top 2 demon, the Golden. Womb, Bo, and Electro all had part in building the Golden and seemed to want to one-up themselves with Avernus, making the level harder than Tartarus, the then top 1 demon. Well, now Tartarus is at the 22nd spot on the demon list. If Avernus in this state was released back then, we could probably assume in present time it would be just above Tartarus, somewhere in the top 20. But it isn't. It's top 2. What the fuck happened? Well, I'll get into it. Soon after the completion of the layout, they would start decorating it. They would also get a 4th member to decorate a part for Avernus, this being the creator Kairos. Eventually, Womb would post the first official preview of Avernus on February 11th, 2021, showing off a more updated layout and all the decorated parts they had completed up to that point. Progress on the level would go silent for another 2 months until April 15th, where Womb uploaded a video on quote-unquote the Avernus situation. The main point of this video was to announce that Womb and Kairos would now be the new hosts of Avernus. Electro was apparently a very inactive host, which made it very hard to make progress on the creation of the level. Now with Womb and Kairos in charge, we should expect progress of the level to be made at a good pace, and we should expect to get another preview of the level before summer. Well, we would end up getting that second preview in the middle of the summer on August 22nd. They spent their time before that updating Bo's part twice and holding a creator contest for a part they didn't even end up using in the level. It would be a long time before we got any update from Womb again, finally getting one on January 17th, 2022. The final one, it seems. Pretty much it says that Womb and Kairos are expecting for the level to be finished by March of that year, show off a few finished parts, and announce that the level was going to be verified by Doggy. That's not really what I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on the fact that Womb keeps on saying we in this video. We're expecting, we hope that, we are working. You might assume that he's just referring to him and Kairos as hosts of the level, but he can't be. I don't know if Womb didn't get a memo or something, but he and Kairos aren't the official hosts of Avernus anymore. The actual host is a player going by the name of Pock Windfish. He posted the final preview of Avernus on December 8th, 2021. You might say that Kairos dropped out of the project and was replaced by Pock Windfish, and that's the we that Woom is referring to. But this can be easily disproven by the fact that in the description of Pock Windfish's video, he refers to himself as the official host of Avernus, not even bringing up the possibility of there being another active host. Who the hell is Pock Windfish anyway? Well, as it turns out, it's probably an alt account of one of the hosts. This can be proven by the fact that it seems like Pock Windfish just kinda popped into existence just to host this level. He claims he's an American player who's based in Carub River in Texas, a place that doesn't actually exist. It is mostly believed that the person behind this account is Kairos, because at the end of the level, instead of crediting Pock Windfish for hosting the level, it only credits Kairos and Bo to it. What point would it be to give all credits of a top 1 demon to some random alt account that he barely used? Well, that's the thing. They were still referring to it as an upcoming top 1. The level had been in development hell for over 2 years at that point. And over those 2 years, the demon list and the skill ceiling changed a lot. Not only would the host get a ton of backlash for taking so long to complete it, but for also turning what would be a top 20 into a top 1 over the course of all that time. They finally finished the level on November 28th, 2022. Doggy would soon opt out of verifying the level, most likely forgetting that he was ever supposed to. So the verification was handed off to Zoink, who was then instructed to buff this level to ensure its top 1 position. Zoink's version of the level was then verified on March 21st, 2023. Nobody would beat it in the month between its verification and its placement on the list. So the only opinion anyone could have on the placement of this level was Zoink, who appraised its difficulty to be at the number 2 spot on the demon list. Even after all this time, it never ended up becoming the top 1 that it always strived to be. This is pretty much the whole history of Avernus leading up to this point, because nobody has yet gone out of their way to beat this level. You know, there was something I forgot to bring up about the very first situation video of Avernus. Woom stated that him and Kairos were still trying their best to create an enjoyable experience during the creation of Avernus. Let's see if they were able to keep this promise. The gameplay of Avernus is atrocious. Is probably what I would say if I was able to play the level. I know that you're probably tired of hearing that every single time you watch a video about Avernus, but it's true. Literally nobody has a clear idea of how good or bad the gameplay is because nobody wants to play it. We could only really assume that because of the fact that nobody has even gotten to the list percent of the level, that has to be pretty bad. I mean, how good could a buff top 20 demons gameplay get? Talking about the buffs in this level, we can't not talk about the horrible fixed hitboxes that Zoink added to the level. Don't you love it whenever somebody prioritizes the difficulty of a level so much that they'd rather mess with the common muscle memory that every Geometry Dash player has instead of just moving the spike a bit closer? Because that's what fixed hitboxes do. Some people have been playing this game for so long that they have memorized exactly where that little red box inside the spike is. I know that people like to shit on RobTop for some of his terrible hitboxes, but I really do think he nailed it for most of the spikes in the game. It gives people time to realize when they've made a mistake, and it has enough leeway for ships and waves to pass through, making things like straight flight, well, possible. So to take this one thing that pretty much everyone who plays this game past Stereo Madness understands, and you change the fundamentals of it just for difficulty, that is so horribly unfair. This is one of the worst examples of a level prioritizing the difficulty of the level against the playability of the level. This seems to be something that literally every single creator and verifier gets about their level. That no matter how difficult it is, you at least want it to play fair. Unfortunately, Avernus had to have a host that only cares about making their demon the new top 1, and a verifier that is quite literally the current best player in the game. Whenever the creator of Silent Clubstep at least has the decency to nerf a few of the hardest parts of his level just to make it a bit more playable, and you don't, that's how you know you messed up on the whole idea of making your new top 1 an enjoyable experience. Pfft, what a joke. The Decoration of Avernus is okay, I guess. I don't think I'm the best person to comment on this type of stuff. I barely create levels, and whenever I do, they're just layouts. The decoration in each part isn't really all that bad, but the styles of each part switch up so much that it's kind of weird to watch in a video of the level. Not to mention that there are 2 parts of the level that I genuinely think look ugly. The rest of the parts I think look fine. The real problem when it comes to the decoration is how poorly optimized it is. Dear God. Now for a bit of context, whenever I'm talking about a specific level in my video, most of the time I go out of my way to bot the level in order to use it as background footage in the video. The only times I don't do this is whenever referring to a specific video of the level, like a verification or something. Doing this just makes the video feel a whole lot better in my opinion. Whenever I sped my game back up to normal speed and let the bot play the level, there were some points where the bot was playing the level in just 10 frames per second. 1/24th of my usual 240 frames per second. And those are just the worst frame drops that I experienced. Throughout the whole completion that my bot performed, the game ran anywhere between 24 and 40 frames per second. If I was lucky, there'd be a part of the level where it ran in 60 frames per second. Only 1/4 of my frame rate. What an improvement, am I right? I just want to make this clear. I have an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1650. It's not good, it's not bad. It's enough to run most high quality games at low graphics, and more importantly, enough to play most Geometry Dash levels without any lag. Really, the only times I lag in a GD level is whenever it's some incredible piece of art that is not like any other Geometry Dash level that I've ever seen. Not only does Avernus have very basic decoration that's okay at best, but it's also top 2. Not a legacy list demon, not a 4-star, not an auto level. It's the top 2 extreme demon in the entire game. People who want to try this level out but may have a less than optimal setup will never even have a chance at playing this level. Oh, but that's okay. Can somebody come along and make their own LDM of the level? Nope. Want to know why? Because entire parts of the level are on their own singular layers. I don't even have to elaborate on how stupid that is. I don't need to elaborate on how stupid Avernus is. I shouldn't have to explain how Avernus sucks in every way. The fact that there are still people who are trying to defend this level despite how low effort it is just astonishing to me. It is clear that this level had no thought behind it. It was literally only made to piggyback off the success that the Golden achieved and the popularity that top 1 levels received. Avernus was made to try to reach the top without trying, without any care put towards the gameplay, the decoration, or anything else about the level. It has no redeeming characteristics, a horrible reputation, and no identity at all! Identity is the real reason why Avernus is so bad. We could talk about how unfair the gameplay is or how unoptimized and bland the decoration is all day, but at the end of it, people haven't been playing Avernus because of its identity, or lack thereof. The Demon List has a lot of bad levels on it. A lot of levels that are objectively much worse than Avernus. Silent Club Step, Thinking Space, Silent Club, the Hell series. All are levels that are much worse than Avernus in nearly every way, but people beat them because of their identity, which for these examples stems from their very integral spot in Geometry Dash history. A level's identity can be built off of anything. A level can be well known for its gameplay, decoration. Maybe it was a new era of difficulty, maybe a sequel to an already popular level, drama or controversy surrounding it. Whatever it may be, these things build a level's reputation and makes players have a drive to beat it. Not Avernus. Its gameplay has been denounced as unfair and unfun. The decoration is horribly optimized and really bland. The level more or less came out with barely any hype building up to the verification of it. The only thing that it's got going for it is the fact that it's technically an antagonist level to the Golden. But even then, you wouldn't notice because of the theming of the level, which alongside the name happened to be a synonym for the word hell, a theme that we still see too much in the top extreme demons. It is simply at best bland and at worst utterly atrocious. It gives no reason for even the most dedicated of list grinders to have anything to do with it. The Demon List has been having its own problems with its identity as well. Like I said at the beginning, the Demon List isn't held in such high regards as it once was. I think the reason why most of the community doesn't take it so seriously anymore is due to some of the most famous and iconic Geometry Dash levels falling off the list. This doesn't seem like something that anyone should complain about. That's just the natural order of how things work on the Demon List, and I don't consider that to be the problem at all. Every single level on the Demon List is going to fall off eventually. The problem is that the levels that are replacing these iconic levels don't have any identity at all. This is due to the fact that the list was once made for levels. Now, levels are made for the list. the list has turned from what once was just an accurate ranking system of some of the hardest demons in the game into a status symbol. If you were somebody that had one of your levels placed on the list somewhere, you could probably expect a good deal of popularity coming from just that alone, which at the end of the day is something that some creators strive for. A lot of attention and praise to be given to something that you worked hard on. But in recent times, due to this apparent drive to create more list levels, it actually became easy for some people to get a level on the list, which is something that should never be said about the list that ranks the hardest levels in the game. Of course, still with a drive to get popularity from the list, people started constantly making harder and harder levels, because the higher on the list it goes, the more popularity you are going to receive. This unfortunately backfired now because the main list has never been filled with more forgettable levels, which sucks because some of these levels are absolutely amazing. Pieces of art that should not be overlooked at all. This is the point where we have to back off the demon list. At the end of the day, it isn't responsible for how much popularity a level is going to receive. Instead, it is the Geometry Dash community that is at fault for being able to overlook these levels for so long. We are the community who held the list in such high regards that people felt like it was necessary to make their level hard enough for the demon list to ensure that it had some bit of relevancy. We are also the community who doesn't value unique ideas. Whenever somebody tries something even just a little out of the ordinary, either the community will not care at all or the creator will be bashed to no end for not making another generic glow level. Very few times does the community actually acknowledge a unique level for its greatness. I know that unique doesn't always equal good, but nearly every single level that we as a community love and appreciate are their own unique experiences. But now, people don't want unique experiences. They want the same old ones. Why else do you think it was possible for 4 versions of Sonic Wave to exist on the list at once? Well, the simple reason is the popularity from Geometry Dash YouTube. The Geometry Dash YouTube scene has always been in control of pretty much the entire community. They give popularity and attention to anything they make a video on. You'd expect with this type of power that the biggest Geometry Dash YouTubers would dedicate their channels to showing off the best and most unique creations in Geometry Dash and encouraging people to make their own unique experiences. But that can't be further from the truth. We are at the stage of a community where the fastest growing Geometry Dash YouTuber is somebody who has more of a passion for making Andrew Tate Geometry Dash YouTube shorts than for the actual game itself. The Geometry Dash YouTube community isn't as dedicated to showing off the best that the community has to offer anymore, and is more dedicated to show off whatever is trendy. Like I said earlier, a very good unique level is rarely picked up to be the trendy level of the week. Many times that honor is given to challenge levels, extreme demons, or upcoming top 1 demons. If your new top 1 extreme demon is lucky enough to catch a wave of popularity across the community, you have to make sure that the level meets everyone's expectations whenever it finally comes out. If it doesn't, then you will be endlessly ridiculed by the community. This is the exact situation Avernus found itself in, and the attempts to stop this ended up digging a deeper hole for itself. I truly feel bad for how this level turned out. I think the reason why Avernus came out like this was because of the stress and pressure that it was put under by the Geometry Dash community. Avernus represents everything wrong with the Geometry Dash community. It's a clear representation of what a community that values difficulty and efficiency over everything else could do to a level. I don't want to think that Womb, Bo, Electro, or Kairos went into making Avernus with the mindset that they were going to create the worst top 10 ever. There definitely was still effort put into this level. I mean, sticking it through for almost 2.5 years to get a singular level out is some dedication. If the gameplay stayed as it was in the first preview of the level, it could be considered pretty fun. And maybe if the decoration had been better optimized, we could see people praising, loving, and actually playing this level for a really long time. But we haven't. I think there was a lot of pressure put on the hosts of Avernus whenever the difficulty ceiling rose faster than they could make the level. They got sloppy during the creation of the level, trying to make it live up to the top 1 position that it always advertised itself to be. I really believe that Womb was being honest whenever he said that they were trying to make the level an enjoyable experience. But due to the series of unfortunate events that took place, all we got was a really disappointing level with no identity other than the fact that it was a failure on all fronts. I don't really believe that Avernus should be unrated or anything. Sooner or later, people will start to beat the level. I don't think as a community we should beat our heads in about whether or not Avernus should be unrated, and instead we should focus on what needs to change in order for a level like Avernus to never exist again. Unfortunately, I don't really think there's any clear solution to stop this from happening again. It seems like no matter what, there's gonna be someone in this community that is only here to try to capitalize off the success and great achievements that this community has in order to get as many views as they can. Hopefully still, something to the extent of Avernus' situation will never happen again. Mostly because whenever a top 1 extreme demon that's just made for views gets popular, it's usually alive for about a month, then everyone, including the host of the level, lose interest. Avernus, on the other hand, just kept trucking through up until its very anticlimactic release. So, although it's still possible something like this could happen again, it probably won't. And now the Geometry Dash community could go back to normal and keep complaining about other things happening on the demon list. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.